So, welcome, Gazie. Thank you for accepting my
Thank you very
invitation
much.
to do this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. So, like I said, this more or less a series of conversations that I'm having with storytellers, and it's curated to feature people, figures, or personalities that I especially admire their work, or their stories, and their drive, as far as I've been following them. And I'm particularly pleased to have you here. You're a photographer, but I know I back of
Yeah.
my mind, I see you as a visual storyteller. So there are different snippets or formats of stories as I see them, that you tell. So beyond just photographs, the wide, very expansive portfolio that you have of photographs and personalities that you've worked with. So, I hope to be able to tease some of that story out, and also delve a little bit into what you think, and your perspective of storytelling generally.
Okay. Of course, that's fine.
All right. Thanks again. Just as just to kick off, you want to maybe introduce yourself? How do you introduce yourself? How are you comfortable introducing yourself?
My name is Yagazie Eguare. I am the founder and the lead creative of Gazmadu Studios. I am a child of God. I am a passionate creative. I am called, I see myself as an equiper called to people, especially women, families, and African photographers, to just empower them and shed light into their lives through the power of photography, and just help them become better versions of themselves.
Awesome, awesome. Um, you know, I know you didn't just land here from heaven, so there's been a more or less a growth process, an evolution.
Or
Yeah.
yeah.
So how did you get here? What's your story?
So I got to this point.
I know
Well,
I
I'm
know
not
you didn't
necessarily.
train as a photographer in school.
Oh yes, I didn't train as a photographer. I trained as an optometrist. But I've always been connected to photography in my heart, because every time I think about when I was growing up, I remember myself being really, really drawn to the camera, really, really drawn to images, and just very fascinated by it generally. I would stare long at anyone I see carrying a camera, because I just felt it was just something interesting about it that just intrigued me. So as I mean, the very first time I got the opportunity to buy anything for myself that I had money, I used the last money that I had to get a camera. And, I remember that being one of the major highlights of my travel then, because I don't know, it felt so good that I had a camera. And it also felt so good to be the one, I would always be the one to remind everyone at home that, oh, we need to take a picture of this, we need to document this. And if you any time that, anyone wanted to have pictures of the family, they would say, go and meet Gazie, go and meet me, because I always had pictures. So it's something that has been there, but I didn't really see it as something that I was going to be able to do, because it wasn't one of the things that I loved, right? And as you grow up, there's so many things that you love, but because this it wasn't a typical career that most people would want to go for. It's not something that I definitely thought about. So it's not something anyone thought about. So it was just, something you love and it can just be there. So of course I went into studying optometry, And thinking back now, I think that it's all, kind of divinely orchestrated, because I mean, optometry is also very, very similar to photography, because I mean, the camera sees the way the eye sees. So going through experiencing, understanding, light and reflection, and a lot of all of that, which was what optometry was all about. And getting to the point where I was very good at it, but I also still knew that there was something more for me out there, but I wasn't sure what it was going to be. But I knew that I wasn't going to practice. And as early, even at the time when I was done with school, I would tell my classmates that I really enjoyed this, but I don't see myself practicing. So it's almost like I knew that this wasn't going to be. I didn't really know what it was going to be. But I mean, after school, when I came for my internship, I was like, oh, I really love photography, and I don't just want to. I never just want to have a hobby that, oh, I don't know more about it. And I was like, oh, okay, let me just learn more about this, so that at least, since this stuff is a hobby for me. So it was in the process of, going for a short training, that I kind of discovered that, oh, wow, this is it all the while. This was the thing that I wanted to do. Like, I found so much joy doing it. And, here we are now. This is my 9th year as a photographer, and my 7th year as a full-time photographer. So it's been a great journey of learning and just rediscovering myself, and it's just been a great process, because like almost like at every stage, God just keeps unraveling more and more and more, and you're like, oh wow, this has just been a beautiful journey so far. Even of course challenging, but with everything, it's almost like an onion, like you're just peeling out different layers, and you're like, oh wow, oh this, oh wow, like that. So that's really how it's been.
I'm sure you had people you were looking up to, and maybe had some interactions with along the way that might have maybe shaped you. You want to share a few of those names?
I mean, I was lucky enough to start my very first training under some really well established photographers at the time. So that was one of the solid foundation that I had, because they made me see photography from an entirely different perspective, because I was coming from the East, and what I thought was photography was not that appealing. But I was taught by Kelechi Amadiobi, Isaac Umupai, really top photographers at that time. And it just made everything, it really helped to solidify my decision, because I was like, oh, if you guys can be doing this well, then I don't see any reason why I can't do this, and how I can do this well. And I remember also seeing a female photographer then who just started, and I remember just asking her, is this all you do? And she said, yes, this is all she does. And I was like, wow, so it's possible for me to do this, and this can be all I do, because I also grew up knowing that even if you want to do something you love or something you're passionate about, let it just be your side hustle. And I've never really wanted to have, I've never really wanted the rat race. One of the things that I said to myself when I came into Lagos was, because I would hear all the stories of, oh, the traffic, Lagos is so stressful, this is, and I would say to myself, no, that I want to define how I want Lagos to be for me, right? And one thing, I don't want the rat race. I don't want to be running, go early in the morning, come back late in the night. I heard all those stories, but I knew that I was going to be, that Lagos was the city for me. But I also wanted to be able to, live in such a way that, it shouldn't stress me. So making the decision to say, okay, I'm not just going to do this part-time, because I don't see the way I'm going to be able to combine a job with it, and still do well. I made the decision early to go full-time. It might not have been the best, because I mean, I didn't have, even though I did a training, I didn't give myself enough time to really kind of learn at the job. So I really just jumped into the ocean. But I mean, through the challenges and everything, I got to learn a whole lot. So yeah, so having those people, and of course T.Y. Bello, I remember I used to really look up to her. I mean, she used to inspire me a lot. I mean, and there are a lot of photographers outside the country as well that inspired me, and then my colleagues as well. So seeing those people really helped to kind of validate what it is that I wanted. Yeah.
Interesting. What kind of photography? I mean, your genre of, would I call it that, genre of photography? So I know you do a lot of portraitures. Yeah, but you know, is that all you want to do? I mean, it's okay if you know that maybe in future you want to diversify or you know look at some other kind of photography that you like to do. But I see you're doing a lot of that now. You know, what's the drive? What do you what's so special about portrait photography that makes you want to do a lot of it now?
So I mean, my genre of photography is you know my the way I see photography now is so much more different than you know how I saw it when I started. When I started, it was pretty much, oh, you know, I have a camera, you want to take pictures, I'm here to take pictures of you. But right now, like there's a lot of, I've defined what photography means to me. I've defined why I am here as a photographer, what my photographs are actually supposed to do. So as much as, yes, I see myself as a portrait and documentary photographer, documentary in the terms of storytelling, right? So even with my portrait, I see it as a documentary portrait. You know, it's very simple, but then again, it tells a lot of stories. And why I am into portrait. I'm going to say why I'm into the two. Why I'm into portrait is because I'm very, very drawn to people. I believe very strongly that I've been called to people, and especially women. So my photographing them is an expression of, you know, like it's an extension of who I am. You know, even when I started, even when I'll take like, you know, I'll take documentary, I'll take all of that. But I always find myself being drawn to the face or being drawn to really capturing, you know, the personality or, you know, seeing the essence of someone. So I always found that. So along the line, I began to see that, oh, this is what I'm really drawn to. Photography is so wide, and it's very important that, you know, most photographers understand that the fact that you have a camera or you're a photographer doesn't mean you have to do everything. You know, it's that part of really discovering yourself, because the more you discover yourself, you don't find out, oh, what are the things that I actually really love doing that connects to me as an individual? And how can I find an expression for my art in that? So that is what it is for me. I'm very interested in, you know, people, you know, I'm very interested in women. I'm very interested in empowering women, right? So my portraits are an extension of my beliefs. They're an extension of who I am. You know, I want to help women see, you know, see themselves more as beautiful. I want to empower them through images of themselves. I want them to believe more in their abilities and their capacities by seeing just an image of themselves. I want them to see a picture of themselves and know that they can do more and they can be more. So that's really, so I have a deeper sense to what my photography is. It's beyond just, oh, I just want to take a picture. I don't just want to take a picture. I actually want to tell the story of the person in a picture. So for documentary, which finds its expression more in weddings, even though I don't do as much as I used to, you know, I still do very few weddings a year. I just love the aspect of, you know, telling the story of love generally. And also its significance to me as well, because I believe so much, you know, I believe so much in love. I believe so much in the power of images, really, especially in marriages, right? So with our weddings, and when I document weddings, I just see the process as, I really want to tell the story of this wedding day, so that the couple can every year, or maybe in 5 years time or 10 years time, I want them to look back at their album and I want them to feel the exact same way they felt on that day. I want it to be a tool to, you know, just remind them again, you know, how everything started. I want it to be a tool for bonding. I want it to be a tool for, you know, reviving a marriage. I want it to be a tool for, like, it's that extensive. So, I mean, so my approach to documentary is just, how can I tell this story in such a way that even someone that didn't attend this wedding will feel like they attended it, you know, and all of that. So that's so those are my two niches. When I'm going to diversify into another photography and the genre of photography, I can't really say so, to be honest, because I've tried a few. I can't really say so. I'm going to do better and I'm going to find diversification within the same genre. So I'm going to find better ways of expressing what I love, or different ways of expressing what I love, not really just saying, but then you never know again. Like, I mean, life is still a long road. So I never know, maybe, God is just going to say, okay, now you're going to go into wildlife. Now, I don't know what that would mean, but I'm just saying, like, I don't see it right now. Yeah.
Wildlife won't be bad. Wildlife won't be bad at all. Taking pictures of cute cats. Cute cats sell
Yeah,
now.
I know.
I know you've, over time, I've seen these pictures. I've seen your, how I call it, portrayal of, some inspirational women. I've seen, maybe, for instance, the one you done with Auntie Udo, as I call her, yeah, and a few other women, and you had the corporate profile pictures that you've also done. And, I really like the way you captured that essence of grace, of style, of class, and they actually show through. So great work with that one.
Thank
But I've also noticed that you've been also undertaking some collaborations with either makeup artists or some other brands. I just want to explore, what's your, I wouldn't say criteria, but what's your motivation for collaboration? What do you look out for when you collaborate with other artists?
What I look out for, I believe so much in collaboration. Like, I love people. I'm very people driven. I'm team driven. I love collaborations. I love just the coming together to make something much bigger, because I believe that, with one person we can do a lot, but with two, you can conquer mountains. So my criteria for collaborating, I mean, when I started out, I would just collaborate anyhow, but at this stage, I don't do that anymore. Is really alignment with our values as a company, was, and also, whoever we're collaborating with has to, what they also have to embody some of the things that we believe in. There needs to be like a sort of sync with, what our values are, and how, all of those things are. And also there must be a joint, like, it should be beneficial for everyone. So it's not something that, oh, you want to collaborate, and behind you wanting to collaborate, there's a selfish desire there. It should be a joint effort to say, okay, we're going to do this because there's a higher purpose to this. It's beyond just, ourselves. We want to put our self brand out and all of those. We want this to benefit you, we want this to benefit everybody. And most importantly, we also want it to be, exciting for the, the viewers or the audience and all of that. So that's really, I love purpose-driven collaboration. So not just empty collaboration. So it has to be purpose-driven. It has to be really a good idea, and it has to be worth doing. So that's really what drives me. And, doing the one that I did with the designer, Lady Pipa, I mean, that was just really what it is, because our, the values of the brand, both brands kind of are definitely align. And, we believe in a lot of, we believe so much in the things that we do. She empowers women through her outfits, right? And we do so through photography. So it's almost like we're kind of doing the same message, but, we're finding expression in different ways. So it was easy for us to kind of come together and still put out a message that would appeal to the same, at the same target audience. Yeah. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, so you alluded to the different forms of expression, and I've noticed that with you, and like I also said in the beginning, how you have how you express yourself, not just in your photographs, but the different formats of that you've also been able to tell your stories. How do you stay authentic on social media? I know sometimes you actually share musings from the Bible, or of your faith, or from your life, and I find them very powerful. I find them uh, genuine, authentic. How do you stay authentic even while you're doing commercial work, even while you still have customers that you need to cater to?
I mean, it took me a bit of time to get to that place for sure, but I had to get to the place where yes, there is my business, and there is also there is me. But the truth is, I can't really separate who I am at my core from every other aspect of me, right? I can separate them in sense that, oh, I have a page that is strictly for business. So if you want anything to tell, you can go check those page. And then I have my personal page, where I can still put out stuff for business. But this is, I got to, I came to the place of knowing that my life is also a message, right? I also want, I don't just want to attract people that, want to, that just want, okay, they just want pictures. I want to also attract people that connect with me at my very core, that feel like there's something about God, and I feel like she's going to be the one that's going to get what I want, right? And the truth is, the more I've shared more about who I am really, my connection to God, and how God is the bedrock of every single thing, my work is also a message. My work is like an assignment for me. Like, I see it as a God-given assignment. So you can't really take it away, right? I see my photographs as, because the truth is, the Holy Spirit directs me even when I'm shooting. Like, is that I can't take out Christianity out of the work, because it's part of it. And I think this is the time that God actually wants. He wants to come into businesses. He wants to come into every aspect of work, and it's beyond the church and all of that. So of course we're not going to, we're not being offensive or saying, oh, this is how you can. But I'm not afraid. I'm not apologetic about expressing who I really am on my page, and giving people the opportunity to also get to know me and get to be blessed, because, my life is a message. As I get blessed, there are things that happen to me, or there are things that, I have to say that, would be a blessing to me, other people. So I got to the place of realizing, hold back, your life is a message. You as an individual, you're a brand, you have your business, they're both separate, right? But then again, and doing it also made me, also kind of help to also fine-tune the kind of clients that I attract personally that want me to shoot them. So we get to the place where, I have people that say, no, it has to be you guys. There's a reason why I really want, because, there's something about you. I feel like you're going to be able to connect with me. I don't just want pictures. I'm very particular about who the person is going to be, all of those things. So is that bringing in your entire personality into the work, so that people now go after you, because you can't be replaced. There can't be anybody else like me. And that's the difference. Even though there are 1,000,001 photographers out there, but there is none that is exactly, that has, everything that that is me. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, so that, I mean, I didn't get there automatically, but I got to the place where I'm like, this is what it is. Like, this is my life, and I'm happy. Life is too short. I'm happy to share it and be a blessing to anyone.
That's indeed powerful, and I find that empowering in itself. I also believe that people shouldn't have to separate work from life. I mean, it would all be so hectic, and it's really, it somehow comes down to what stresses people out most of the time, having to do, get into gear for one thing and then get on a different gear for another thing. And even,
I think that's just like,
true, true. Awesome. Thank you. Just so part of what I hope to announce to you is that you're actually a Future Awards winner or recipient, and just want to ask,
yeah.
so all those validations, validations, awards, recognitions, how have they changed you?
I mean, it's great. I mean, it's definitely great because at every stage in that stages in your career, I mean, when you get such awards, it just makes you, it humbles you, and it just also makes you thankful. It makes you push for more. It just makes you, it's like saying all the hard work, everything that you have been doing is not in vain, like people have recognized you to be this, or it's such a booster. That's for sure. It's definitely such a booster. It's not what would drive the work. You don't do it because you want an award, but when an award comes, it is amazing. It is what talking about. It is it's what celebrating, because it's, I just see it as, really, it's just really the favor of God, and just, it's almost like God is just telling you, like, you've done well, well done. I'm proud of what you've done so far. There's a lot more to do, but just know that people are watching, and you're also being a blessing. So don't stop right now. It's like it also challenges you to do more.
So I typically close out these sessions with a lesson from you to people. Something that I also personally would like to maybe take away as a tip from you to people who are building themselves up to be story sharers or storytellers. Or people just building themselves up in the creative space. So I know you said a little bit of that from this last comment of yours, but I think I just want you to be able to just take a second or two to just craft it in that perspective. You encouraging or just sharing a tip with people who are still coming up in the creative space and are building themselves in that regard.
Okay. Okay, I'll probably say two or three things. One, the first thing I would say is, the creative industry is such an amazing place right now. And it's so hungry for, it's so hungry for a lot, in the sense that I see so many opportunities in the creative industry as a whole. But the only thing is that a lot of creatives are not ready enough to take advantage of most of these opportunities, right? A lot of creatives are still playing in the very low state. They're not challenging. There's the great place, which is the skill, but then skill is good, but there are other things that need to amplify your skill to a place where you start to really own your space, right? So I would just say to anyone growing that, don't think that, the creative, there's so many people that are into their creatives now. There's so many photographers, there's so many this, there's so many, no. First of all, understand that if you've been called to this, if you're very passionate about this, there is a place for you. There is a definite place for you. The only thing now is, what are you going to do? How are you going to position yourself? How are you going to empower yourself to ensure that you're sensitive to opportunities as soon as they come to you? How are you going to educate yourself so that you don't have to spend too much time doing things by yourself, going round and round, getting frustrated, and cut down time, and really that place of increasing in knowledge. So I'll just say there is room for you. There's room for any creative right now. The land is so green. You know, in as much as it looks like there are people that are springing up, but really, it's not. It's still not as much. The land is extremely green. And another thing I would say is be your authentic self, because anyone that is a creative has to understand that, you know, I'm definitely going to go spiritual, has to understand that it's deeply spiritual, really, because a creative is somebody that thinks about something and creates it, right? And who is the greatest creator? God. So if God has given you an ability to create, you must understand that you're going to function the best and the most at the place of your calling. So instead of trying to check out for too many inspirations out there, spend time to discover yourself. Spend time to find yourself as an artist, so that you begin to you know, express your creativity from the very depth of who you are. That is like the most, I would say, the fastest and the easiest way to really, really grow. And the third thing I'll really just say, which is connected to the first, is really just throw yourself into knowledge, as in expand your mind with everything that you can, you know, get access to. Yeah. So I hope that was good.
Thank you so much, Gazie. This was really, you know, very rich. Hope to do this again with you another time.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
All righty. Have a good evening.
You too. Cheers.